I'm sitting here with Mr. William Benny. He's a 32-year veteran of the NSA who helped design a top secret program. He says broadly changed Americans' personal data, and he actually helped crack those codes and enter into this. He's now a whistleblower. Mr. Benny, thank you so much for joining me. So first of all, let's talk about the latest information that has come out from this NSA spying on Americans.
First of all, the FISA warrant that was issued to the FBI to get data from Verizon, that's been going on, according to the paper anyway, since 2007. And this is like being renewed every 3 months. So if you look at the top right corner of that order, it's 13-80. That means it's the 80th order since in this year of 2013. So when you start to say, well, what are the other 79 orders, you can figure other companies, and this is like the second order of 2013 for each company. So that maximum, you would divide 80 by 2, and the maximum number of companies that could be involved in this kind of order would be 40. So, but I'm sure that there are other things that they have other orders that they're issuing other than just this kind for the service providers or the telecoms.
So let's talk about the 9 internet companies that said that they are part of this prison program. Should Americans really be surprised at this?
Well, I'm not, that's for sure. But I would point out that the NSA had deployed NARIS devices, and it's in court documents submitted by Mark Klein, documenting the NSA room in the San Francisco AT&T building, where they had NARIS devices in a splitter that basically duplicated the fiber optic lines and would send them down 2 paths. All the information went down 2 directions. One of them went to the NARIS devices in the NSA room. And so those NARIS devices could take everything off that fiber optic line, which meant they could get one NARIS Insight device can do 10 gigabits a second, which meant it could reassemble 1/4 and 1.25 1,000 character emails a second. And that's the kind of input they would get from one device. Now, I'm sure they have multiple devices at multiple sites in the country as well as other places in the world. So that's an awful lot of data to try to manage. And so they need to do things like build Bluffdale to plan for the future, so they have lots of storage for all this data coming in.
So how far down the rabbit hole are we? Are we really just at the tip of the iceberg in terms of their spying with this prison program coming out in the Verizon records?
Tim Clementi, who was an ex-FBI agent, came on CNN about a week or 2 ago, and he said that any digital data wasn't safe, and that the intelligence community and the FBI had ways of getting back to it. And he was specifically talking about the phone call between one of the Tamara brothers and his wife. And that if his wife didn't tell the FBI what they talked about in that phone call, that they had ways of getting back to that and transcribing it and getting that information. So that's telling you what they've got recorded and the extent of it. Now, digital data means all kinds of email, all kinds of Twitter kind of things, and anything going across the fiber optic lines as well as the public switch telephone network.
So we're not talking billions of pieces of information here, are we? We're talking trillions.
We're talking trillions, yeah. My estimate with phone calls and emails jointly would be on the order of 20 trillion for the last 12 years.
How can we even manage that sort of thing? They're saying with this prison program, for instance, you have one lawmaker after another supporting it, saying that it helps thwart at least one terrorism attack. How would trillions of emails and trillions of bits of data help find one terrorist attack?
My personal view is that the intelligence community is bamboozling Congress and the administration. They are telling them that we have to do this in order to find the bad guys in the networks, and that's just absolutely false. You don't have to do that. There were ways and means to do that, and I left that ability and capability with them, and they just threw it away. So instead, they opted to collect everything they could about everybody in this country, and one of the reasons is that that they would want to do that. The only one I could think of is they wanted to be able to leverage anybody in this country. For example, you can take the case of the IRS and the Tea Party and the harassing they're doing there. One of the people that was being harassed was giving testimony in front of Congress, and they said, which I thought was quite revealing, that they had a question from the IRS that said, what is your relationship with this other person? And they gave the name. Well, how would they know that unless they knew the communications community of that person? So that means you're getting back to this program where they're pulling all the records of phone call and emails and everything together and seeing who that person worked with. And on top of that, it gave them the ability to pull together the entire Tea Party. So you would know everybody that's involved in the Tea Party, peripherally or centrally.
Now, this new prison program says that the agents who are employing it need to have a 51% confidence that it's a foreign agent, a foreign person. Can you talk about that accuracy? How can we even guarantee it? And is 51% really enough?
Well, that's another joke, okay? These are all jokes. I mean, they expect people to believe this. I mean, there are two parts. One is the public telephone, the public switch, the PSTN public switch telephone network, and then the other is the internet, or the World Wide Web. On the one side, you have phone numbers. Now, these phone numbers, whether they're your landline phone, or your mobile phone, or your satellite phone, all connect into this public switch telephone network, and those numbers are unique in the world. And you're talking about switches that are routing these communications from one point in the earth to another. And they have to know exactly where to send it. So you know exactly where it went and exactly where it's coming from. So there's no question that you shouldn't have a fairly 99.999% accuracy on identifying that, unless something happens and they have an electronic blip and they lose part of the information. And the other thing is on the World Wide Web. Here again, they have attributes that are part of the worldwide system that identifies those people uniquely in the world, like the IPv4, IPv6, addresses that are assigned by the IANA into the 5 regions of the world. And that kind of clearly tells you. And if you don't have that, then every system, every device, whether it's a switch, a server, or a computer, has a MAC number. Well, that's a machine access code, which identifies you uniquely in the world. And the same would be true in using username and service provider combinations like williambinney@comcast.net, something like that. Those kind of attributes identify where you are and where you're coming from.
So let's talk about the companies, the 9 internet companies that are allegedly involved in this, How do they say that they didn't know that this was possibly happening under their watch? First of all, is that even possible that